G'day guys, and today it's time for me to dip into the Michael Cohen payment scandal, as that has recently been crop dusted back into the mainstream media cycle. I'll just quickly recap the story, one, in case people don't know about it, or two, just so people understand what information and story I'm running off, and if I have missed anything they can tell me about it and that sort of thing. So, a few days before the beginning of the 2016 election, before Trump has signed on as an official running candidate, his then lawyer, Michael Cohen, shelled out money to two women to the sum of $280,000 US. This action has been determined as an excessive campaign contribution by the Court of the Southern District of New York. What is important to mention here is that the Federal Election Commission, which usually oversees excess campaign contributions, finance violations, and that sort of thing, is not making this claim. Only the Southern District of New York prosecutors. Additionally, within Michael Cohen's plea agreement, there is no mention that it is Trump who requested to do it. It only says that Cohen himself violated a campaign law. However, within the same court hearing, Michael Cohen's lawyer, who was representing at the case, this man was known as Lanny Davis, confirmed that Michael Cohen was indeed referring to the President of the United States, Donald Trump, who had ordered him to make these payments. Now, it should be pretty clear that I, as someone who lives on the other side of the world and is not a lawyer, could not possibly hope to untangle all this legalese and make an authoritative judgment statement on whether this is campaign finance violation. This is why I've chosen to include snippets within this video of former FEC Chairman Professor Bradley Smith and what he says about this, which I'll play for you now.
Well, look, under campaign finance law, I mean, you and I both despise, I think, campaign finance law and think it's an infringement of the First Amendment and so on. But here's the bottom line. The purpose of those laws is to prevent corruption. And one way in which campaign finance contributions or campaign contributions are different from bribes is that you have to use them to get elected. You can't use them to buy yourself, grandfather clocks or fur coats or Rolex watches or something like that. And the FEC standard for that has traditionally been that you can't use your campaign money for personal use. And what they mean by that is you can't use it for something that you'd have to pay anyway, something that's not directly for your campaign. So the question here is this really a campaign obligation? None of these expenditures helped Mr. Trump's campaign. There's all kinds of reasons why he might want to make these expenditures, even if the allegations of Stormy Daniels are totally untrue, just for family harmony, commercial viability over the long term. And historically, the FEC has said these things are not campaign contributions. One thing I point out is that, and this wouldn't be known normally to a judge who's not dealing with this, is that when the FEC wrote the regulation that says what constitutes campaign expenditures and what constitutes personal use, it rejected specifically the idea that a campaign expenditure was anything related to a campaign, and instead says it has to be something that exists only because of the campaign and solely for that reason.
Within the rest of the interview, Professor Bradley Smith gives several examples of how something that could be related to a political campaign would not necessarily specifically be a campaign expenditure. One example given is, what if Trump, in his vast business empire, decided to give all his employees a Christmas bonus this year, and this ingratiated voters to him, saying, hey look, Donald Trump's this cool guy, he's really charitable, he's handing out money, he's doing things for the economy, and blah 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 blah, and stuff like that. This could certainly be considered to benefit Donald Trump's political campaign, but it cannot be considered to exist because of the campaign and solely for that reason. Another example I've seen spouted online is Donald Trump's physical appearance. For an old man, he looks remarkably good. This is down to plastic surgery, fake tan, probably some hair work and things like that. He has orange skin due to fake tan, and he has this mop of hair and things like that, and it's all blonde, it's not grey and old and white, and this makes him look younger and more energetic when he's up on the stage. As this helps with his image and thus his political campaign, could Donald Trump's expenditure on beauty products be considered an in-kind campaign contribution? Well, you can't really. The entire case would dissolve down to he said, she said. People might claim, hey, that's an in-kind campaign contribution, and Donald Trump would just say, hey, I like looking attractive. There's no real way to prove that he did so solely for the campaign. Once you engage with all this information and understand it, it's pretty clear to see that this is just the latest smear campaign against Donald Trump. He's not going to get in trouble for this because he didn't do anything wrong. He's certainly not going to be impeached for this, as it's not a high crime of treason. There's really nothing more to say about this. It's all just a bunch of nonsense that's being masqueraded as something important by the mainstream media spin cycle. It's blowing up, making it look far more important than it actually is. Thanks all for sticking around, and have a good one.